Hi, we're Graham and Tracy the Flying Finnies. We have just spent a fantastic week in Taiwan, travelling around some of the local food markets, but as we've found in Taiwan, there is much more to see and do.
That's what we want to cover off in this video. So we had a fabulous week there. We ate too much. We saw plenty, but we're on a really tight budget, as you've probably seen from some of our other videos. And that was a little bit challenging in Taiwan, trying to stick to our budget.
When we were in India, we were spending about $130 a day, I think around about the same in Bali. But just the accommodation costs alone in Taiwan are a little bit more expensive, so we had to make things fit.
And some of the activities that we did cost a bit more than what they would have in India or Bali. It's not difficult in India in particular to stick to $130 a day.
So in this video, we're going to take you through our top 5 places to visit in Taiwan, relatively inexpensive, but we might also cover another couple of activities and options that pushed our budget out a little bit beyond what we had been hoping to spend.
But they may have been worth it.
They were definitely worth it.
The other things that we want to cover, of course, is our transport to Taiwan, transport while we were on the island, our accommodation costs and food, of course, so all those major expenses.
So stick around to the end. We're going to give you a detailed breakdown of our budget here in Taiwan that'll help you plan your next adventure.
Did we meet our $130 a day target?
No.
No.
But we came pretty close.
But how much we went over that budget by, you have to stick around to the end to find out.
So getting to Taiwan from Sydney was relatively easy. We went by China Air. It cost us about 60,000 Qantas frequent flyer points and about $330, which was an absolute bargain.
The only problem was, Graham, that you weren't able to get into the Qantas Club as you would have liked.
So we haven't been able to get into any of the lounges here at the Sydney International Airport, and so instead we are drowning our sorrows with an $8 pint of beer. And I've got to tell you, it tastes pretty good.
Now, getting around Taiwan, what do you think?
That was also pretty easy. We used the metro all the time, actually. Really cheap, really efficient, really clean. Highly recommend it.
The Metro card only cost us about $30 a head, and it meant that we didn't have to use taxis, Ubers or Grabs really anywhere in Taiwan.
So we're in the metro and we've been using these 3-day metro cards. It's like a 72-hour pass, unlimited metro. I think it cost us 300 Taiwanese dollars, which is about 15 Australian dollars.
Yep.
For 3 days of unlimited use. Just tap it on, tap it off. Really efficient. And once again, highly recommend the metro. Also, it's not obvious now because it's not peak hour, but in Taiwan, you need to keep to the right when you're in the train stations or on the escalators. And as Australians, we automatically keep to the left. So we have been causing a little bit of confusion here. Sorry to all the locals. We're doing our best.
We'll cover this later on in the video, but one of the other things that we really enjoyed doing was renting a scooter to get to some of the outlying areas. This only cost us around about $20 for a full day of travel. So it was actually super cheap.
It's primarily my job when we're traveling to book the accommodation. At first glance, when I was looking at Taiwan, it was pretty easy. I found lots of really low cost rooms, about $40 or $50 a night actually. The problem was a lot of those were dorms, and we're a little old for dorms now. We can do it, but we choose not to. So this hotel, including taxes, was about 90 Australian dollars a night. It's not super budget by Taiwanese standards. There were a lot cheaper rooms, probably around 60 Australian dollars we could have got something for. But a lot of those rooms were like internal rooms and had no windows. And I'm a bit weird about that. I really like to have some natural light coming in. Someone did say to me the other day, it's probably really good in an earthquake, probably really safe, but we're not planning on being here during an earthquake. We're having an earthquake. Yeah, so I would call this probably mid-range price point for Taiwan, but it is really comfortable. It's really big. So that was a bit of a hard decision. The budget side of the family wanted to book the internal room. But yeah, I wasn't prepared to compromise on that.
Now, we've released around about 4 videos so far on the outstanding food that you can find here in Taiwan, so there isn't a lot more to say other than you've got to come here, and if you haven't come here to taste the food, you're missing out on something.
The way we saved money on food while we were here was to visit all the street markets. We had excellent food and it cost us virtually nothing. I'm assuming that was a duck foot that Graham just ate because it was so large. 200?
So Tracy and I sat down and ranked the 5 activities that we did in Taiwan. All of them absolutely worth seeing.
Absolutely worth seeing, but we did want to rank them, and ironically, or fortunately, we both ranked them the same. So we started with our least favourite, and I'd like another term for that, but I can't think of one, to our most favourite, and we put them in the same order. So we're going to start at number 5.
So number 5, the National Palace Museum.
It was great. We didn't actually go inside the museum. And to give this some context, it was our first day there and we had been on an overnight flight. So we'd had very little sleep. So we were really tired. We caught the bus out and we just went to the gardens and the gift shop actually. But the gardens were amazing and a perfect thing to do if you're really tired after a long flight.
So the museum is around about 40 minutes north of the city. So it was a really good introduction to the city as it was. The best thing about the gardens?
They cost nothing.
We love free admission. Let's go in and visit the gardens.
Number 4.
Number 4 is the Gondola Ride that we took to the top of the mountain in Kong, where we had a lovely cup of tea at the top of the mountain.
We have travelled to the southern edge of Taipei today. We're in and around the area of the Taiwan Zoo, and we're here to take a ride on a gondola.
There's the gondolas passing our heads right now.
So this gondola runs for around about 4 kilometres. It takes between 20 to 30 minutes to take the full trip. We're going to be taking a couple of little trips along the way.
Essentially goes up the mountain, and at the top there are tea plantations, so we might get a nice cup of tea while we're up there. There's another stop at a temple, which we'll probably do, jump out and have a look at the temple.
There are 2 types of gondolas that you can take up to this summit. The first is your normal gondola. You'll see quite a few of those. The second one is, it's only 1 in every 6 cars is a crystal gondola. You can see how popular it is. Crystal gondola line, regular gondola line.
This is a really great gondola ride. It's a long gondola ride. I don't know that I'd wait for the crystal car though, because all of this is a glass bottom, and honestly we're not looking through the bottom at all. We're looking at the view around us. There's a fantastic view of the city from here. You can get a real feel for how big Taipei is and the density, and of the beautiful green hills surrounding it, and you get a really good view of the tallest building here, Taipei 101. We jumped off the cable car halfway up the mountain at the temple stop. We're at the Chiang temple, and as usual they're in the most beautiful geographical locations. We've made it to the top of the mountain. It was a really lovely gondola ride. We had fabulous views of Taipei City and obviously views over the beautiful lush mountains here. So we are now going to go in search of a tea house that takes our fancy and have a nice refreshing cup of tea. We found our tea house, and I have ordered some tea flavoured waffles for afternoon tea and some oolong tea. we read a guide, online guide, blog, that said turn left as you get off the cable car station instead of turning right. So you go a bit further up the hill and then there's a few more of these lovely tea houses. Look at all this. I'm glad we only got one serving to share. That is a massive portion, but it smells divine.
We're on our way down in the gondola. We've got a cabin all to ourselves, and it's another crystal cabin. Not that we can see too much through the floor at the moment. What we can see are these beautiful lights out towards Taipei. Malkong, definitely worth a visit. An absolute must-see when you come to Taiwan is the Chiang KaiShek Memorial Hall and Park. Behind me is the Liberty Archway, the National Theatre and Concert Hall, which all are a part of this plaza. But the absolute standout is this magnificent memorial hall dedicated to Chiang Kai-shek that rises up above the plaza itself in this white stone. It is absolutely amazing. The garden itself is around about 25 hectares, and we might have the opportunity to sit down and enjoy a little bit of the nature in this park later on. The hall was opened in 1980 after the death of Chiang Kai-shek in 1975. It features a changing of the guard hourly from 9 AM through to 5 PM, a whole lot of exhibitions, both permanent and temporary, all of which are free. Taiwan has an interesting and intriguing history, and the museum seeks to provide a balanced perspective across the positive and sometimes the challenging aspects of that history. Well, we're in for a bit of an adventure today, I think. We're about to jump on this motor scooter, head through the streets of Taipei and up into the northeastern side of Taiwan Island. It promises to be a great day, hopefully filled with very, very beautiful sights. Let's see how we go. Okay, so this is interesting. We've got a whole lot of jury-rig systems because we don't have a clamp on the front of the bike for our phone, so we're getting instructions via our headset, using a waterproof phone holder to give us directions. What could possibly go wrong? Tracy, we've arrived at Chifen, around about an hour and 40 minutes on the bike.
Yes, and my butt felt every single minute of it. That was not super comfortable for me, but it did get us here. This looks like a really cute little place though. We're heading down to the waterfall first, and then we're heading up into the old towns.
This is a really nice nod to Chifen's past. The area was known for coal production, and then as that started to peter out, many of the suspension bridges have been changed over to accommodate tourism. To let us have a look at what's just up here.
So we've made it to the Chifen waterfall, and it's really beautiful. Look at it. It's gorgeous. It's not huge. It is known as Little Niagara, and I can see the resemblance. but it really is little Niagara. It's much, 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 much smaller than Niagara Falls. It's cool and refreshing after the walk in. We're going to enjoy the view for a little while and then go back to that barbecue restaurant that we passed on the way in because it smelled sensational and we are hangry. I've got a feast for you. Look at all this yummy food.
We're in Ancient Street in Chiffon and the place is going up. There are so many people down here. The big thing along this part of the strip is flying balloons for future health, wealth and prosperity. I think we might have to give it a go. I'm not sure which colour we should be getting.
So we've decided to hedge our bets and we're going to go for just a 4-colour lantern.
So we've put the whole family on there, including the dogs, on the lucky side because we feel lucky to have them and we wish them good luck.
The orange side is for success. So we're going to put something about the flying finnies on here because we're really hoping to get this channel up and running properly. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers. So help us get there, guys.
Blue is for safety, and I'm just thinking of our little Vespa ride. Maybe that's what we need to look at in terms of safety. Green side is for health, and we wish everyone good health, but maybe at the moment this is a world issue, so we might do the world.
Okay, hold the button. Okay, look here.
1, 2, 3, let's go!
Let go!
Oh. So Chiffon is definitely a place that's worth visiting. It's very touristy. There are a lot of people here and maybe some of the activities could be considered a little bit cliched, but we had a lot of fun decorating our balloon and just wandering around with everyone else here was amazing. The train hurtling down the tracks while everyone was still there is also something that has to be witnessed, but really wonderful afternoon and touristy, but worthwhile.
Can you tell we're in a popular tourist area? Just look behind me here. We are in Chiffon, Old Street, another historical area, and it's this beautiful red lantern lit alleyway that we're in, but there's the overwhelming aroma, pleasant or not pleasant, of stinky tofu, and it's got we just tasted some beautiful cake and now we've got the aroma of stinky tofu. I don't think I'm going to be able to eat that. I feel like we should do it, but I just don't think we're going to get there. Lots of free food here. This is coffee nougat. I'm not a nougat expert, but it's like a savoury nougat. It's got poppy seeds and I like it. Everyone's giving out tasters. Sesame, it's like a sesame stick with peanuts.
So we had a look at an article earlier on today which suggested about 10 different dishes here in the city. One of them was the beef noodle soup, which we've just ordered along with a couple of the buns, the pork bun and pork and veggie bun. A lot of gristle in the beef, very chewy. Your teeth just sink through it. It's delicious.
This is something I've never had before in my life. Sweet taro balls, cold. It's like hot soup with hot sweet soup, I guess, with taro balls, and they dump a bunch of ice in it to make it cold. So let's see. I think Graham's going to like it more than me. It's nice, but it's probably for people who like things like rice pudding, and Graham loves those kind of desserts with, you know, grain type things in them.
Tracy got it right. I'm enjoying it. I love the texture of it. You just kind of bite into it. I think definitely better cold. I couldn't imagine what this would be like hot. It's beautiful as a dessert. So that's been a pretty good evening at the Jufon markets.
Yeah, we've had a really nice time here. I would highly recommend that you all come here when you're in Taiwan or Taipei in particular. We've done it as a day trip, and I'd probably stay out here, I think. It's probably worth coming out for a night, like a couple of days and a night. The views are amazing, and it looks like you could go down to the bay and have a nice day down there as well if you stayed for the days.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, there is so much good food here to sample. Again, we've only scraped the surface of what there is to offer in this couple of streets alone, so I'd definitely be keen to stay a little bit longer. Time to jump back on the bike now.
It is time to get back
Get
to
motoring to Taipei.
Great day. Scooters are a really cheap and convenient mode of transport for us, but even so, it can be challenging. We ended up on a freeway that we weren't meant to be on late at night, and the oil warning light came on halfway through the day. There's a positive in every situation though. Stopping at the mechanics meant I got to spend time with this cute little floofer.
We are around about 40 minutes out of the Taipei CBD in a place called Beitou. Is that correct?
Not sure about the pronunciation, but that's how we're pronouncing it. It is a natural hot springs area, and it's a Sunday here in Taipei, so it's quite crowded with locals. There's a lovely market behind us. We are going to go and soak ourselves in some natural hot springs and make sure, or try and make sure, that we don't offend anybody. We need to follow all the correct
Full of the etiquette.
protocols and etiquette. Yeah.
We've brought our bathing suits
We brought our
today.
bathing suits for this.
There is a little bit of a walk that we can do here, starting with the market that you can see in the background, and then heading through to an area called Hill Valley. Now, we can already smell the sulphur. We could smell it from when we first got off the train here.
I couldn't smell it. You must have a very sensitive nose.
Might have been you, darling. I could smell... I could smell a little bit of sulphur as we were coming off the train. Can you smell that now?
I can actually. I just did get a walk.
All right, there we go.
That's karma for you.
So we're going to take a bit of a wander through the market, through to Hell Valley. Can't swim there, but it'll be interesting to see that area, because I believe that these hot springs, there's only 2 like this in the world, and the other type of hot spring is found in Japan.
I feel like I'm getting a facial from the steam coming off there. It's really beautiful. And again, I'm surprised. I'm always surprised. I don't know what I'm expecting, but I wasn't expecting it to be quite this active, steamy. It's beautiful. Shame it's 434 degrees. No swimming in that late. There's just a really slight sulphur smell. It's almost pleasant in a really odd way.
Just standing here, as you put your hand out towards the pool, you can feel the heat radiating out of the water. It's quite surreal, but it's also really pleasant as well.
Warm. Oh, there's steam coming up through here. Got a warm bird. That's great. I really liked it. It's only a small area, but it's really interesting. Watching the steam like roll across that lake when the changing wind was really interesting. It was great seeing everybody out enjoying it. Loved it. You should come here. We're a couple of...
Lobsters.
I feel like a poached chicken. You feel like a cooked lobster, I think.
I'm feeling very lobsterish at the moment.
That was actually really good. It was only $1.50. It was so cheap, 30 Taiwanese dollars, to go into the public hot springs. And it's really comprehensive. So there's a whole series of different pools that you can go in. And the very top one is the hottest. We realised after we started towards the top, not quite at the top. And then they get cooler as you go down. So I managed to go in the second hottest one for quite a long time, but the hottest one I couldn't. I put my foot in, I was like, that's no good for me. You did manage to do that though.
Yeah, I got about 4.5 minutes in the hottest area, and there were some men and women there who'd been in a lot longer than me, obviously far more acclimatised to it, because it was about 44 degrees Celsius coming out of the spout, out of the hot spring into that top pool, and then the water would cascade down through other pools and get progressively cooler along the way.
The locals did give us a really good look when we tried to go into the hottest one. I think they thought they're not going to make it. I think we managed the etiquette not too bad. I think we probably got an 8 out of 10 for etiquette at the local hot springs.
We
No
both got
issues
in
there.
and it was fantastic.
So those are our top 5 things that we really enjoyed doing and enjoyed doing on a budget. But there were a couple of other things that we definitely put on your list of things to do, even if they cost a little bit more.
The first one of those was Taipei 101, which is the tallest building in Taipei. And we had a really nice evening catching the lift up, having some yummy waffles at the top, and just enjoying the view from up there.
And the second thing that we did on the same night,
It was an expensive night. That was Din Tai Fung. So Din Tai Fung is a very famous Taiwanese dumpling restaurant, and we actually go to Din Tai Fung in Sydney quite frequently, and we really wanted to try the original Din Tai Fung while we were in Taiwan.
so total cost between the two activities about 110 Australian dollars.
So nearly a full day's budget just on 2 evening activities.
But
Both were worth it. They were both fabulous. So it blew our budget for the week. But, you know, sometimes you've just got to do that. YOLO.
Success. So around about $30 each, we're on our way.
I think we're in the next lift. Are you ready?
So time is 10 past 5 and sunset is at 5:25. So I'm hoping the answer to that is yes.
So this is pretty cool. This is called the wind damper, and it is a massive ball of steel. There's like 41 plates that weighs about 660 tons, and it's designed to stop this really tall building swaying in strong winds, typhoons, earthquakes.
After an hour or so up at Taipei 101, it was time to descend on this extremely quick elevator and head to Din Tai Fung.
You can come to Din Tai Fung at the bottom of the Taipei 101 building, but it's not the original one. We want to go to the original one, so we're going to jump on the MRT again for a few stops to get there. But look at the line up to get in. It's really popular. One of the tips that we did read, if you want to go to this one, is to actually put your name down before you go up to the tower, and then spend an hour or so upstairs, and by the time you come back down, you might be close to the front of the queue. We made it, and there is no line up here, so hopefully it's the original and the best. So that was a big fail. We've just turned up here and it's actually only a takeaway restaurant, so maybe we should have just stayed at 101 and eaten. She has redirected us to a nearby Din Tai Fung, which is only about 3 minutes walk away, so probably not the original, but hopefully still the best. I'm really glad there's not a lineup.
The first of our dishes have arrived. My mouth's watering already. This is pork xiaolong bao. For those who haven't tried it before, and we've made this at home a couple of times with varying degrees of success, it's a pork dumpling, but there's like a bone marrow fat inside of it that once cooked turns into soup. Now, the xiaolong bao has been superb, but this pork cutlet, I've got to be honest, this could be the star of the show. It is absolutely delicious, super moist, super tasty.
We weren't planning dessert here. I've never had dessert at Din Tai Fung before, but I overheard the table next to us ask for chocolate xiaolong bao, so they made chocolate dumplings. We've been warned, as usual, they're very hot, but I'm really interested to try these. How exciting. We need to get these on the menu at Sydney. It's all squishy. That is so good. It just tastes like a really good quality piece of chocolate has been molten inside the really beautiful thin wonton wrapper that they make it in. That is 10 out of 10. You are going to love it, Finny. It's time to do the maths on all of this.
So it was a great 7 days in Taiwan, but we didn't quite stick to budget.
No regrets though. No regrets whatsoever. So let's go through the numbers. The total amount that we spent on, let's start with transport, was $91 for the week. That's in-country transport, not counting the cost of our flights.
Accommodation, $630, $90 a night.
Food, the total for our 7 days was about $370. And in fact, that's for about 8 days because we counted the cost of the travel day in there as well. So it was $370. And then the final category,
Activities, $87.
That's really good, actually. $87 for activities for a whole week,
including Taipei 101.
Yeah, including that expensive one. So that's
Pretty
great.
good.
I'm proud of myself, even though we're slightly over budget, as we'll get to.
Total cost for the week?
Drum roll. $1,178 Australian, which is about $168 a day. So we're about $38 over budget per day, which is pretty much the extra cost of the accommodation. So I guess that makes me totally responsible for the for the over budget.
But what it does show, though, is that Taiwan, even though we were over budget, is still a very affordable destination. And in terms of experiences and, more importantly, food, absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Once again, no regrets from my perspective. We had a great week and I can't wait to get back there one day. Hopefully we get back in the not too distant future. That would be great.
All right.
Maybe next time we can come in under budget. But probably not though.
Time to fly.
Time to fly. Bye.
Not happy, Jan. So this isn't going to get into the video.